Africa, good day. And to the rest of the world, you're tuned in to North Coast Radio 104.0 MHZ. And I'm your host, Lwazi Manqele, bringing you not just the headlines, but the heartbeat of innovation shaping our continent. Last week, I had the incredible privilege of speaking with Mr. Guillem Martinez Roura. He is the program officer at the International Telecommunications Union. Now, the ITU is the United Nations specialist agency powering digital transformation globally. Now, together, we got to unpack Africa's journey into artificial intelligence, robotics, and we got to discover how digital skilling is unfolding in our schools and in our rural communities, more especially. And we got to explore the breakthrough programs fostering African leadership on the world stage. Now, if you're passionate about unlocking Africa's digital future, stay tuned. You won't want to miss a moment of this exclusive interview. I just want to find out a couple of questions about basically the AI Expo that was in Africa recently, and maybe just some programs that you've got, what type of developments are happening, but more importantly, how we can prepare for the digital transformations. My first question to you would be, maybe just explain to us what your department does and what your role is within the whole digital space, within the United Nations.
Thanks a lot for this question. So basically, the ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Digital Technologies. This year we are celebrating 160 years of existence, and we are basically working through three main sectors of activity. One is the ITUT, and ITUT is the sector in which I work at the ITU, and we develop technical standards for new technologies. So we have currently developed over 400 standards, and some are published, some others under development on AI technologies.
Wow.
And those span from areas from content media authenticity to multimedia standards to safety. So all this is part of the core work we do at the ITU.
Oh, great stuff. And then with the whole right now industries are transforming, because of AI and robotics. How far, I just want to know, where do you see Africa? Like, how far are we, and what is still missing?
Yeah. Now, thanks for asking this question. I think it's very important to answer this, to understand, first of all, which are the four core areas of action of the ITU, and which are directly aligned with the needs and priorities of African countries, and how African countries can then leverage these opportunities in their ecosystems. So one of them is multi-stakeholder dialogue. So here, through the AI for Global Summit, regional dialogues like the one we had earlier last week, AI for Good Impact Africa, and platforms like the Innovation Factory, which I'm going to discuss more later on. ITU connects innovators, youth, governments, private sector to exchange ideas and scale trustworthy AI solutions. And these dialogues for sure give African stakeholders global visibility and a voice in shaping AI's future. Another aspect is the capacity building and skills development. And this area has seen tremendous progress, especially through youth engagement and education. A recent example that we had as well here in South Africa is the AI for Good Robotics for Good Youth Challenge, where 30 youth teams develop robotic solutions for food security and sustainable agriculture. And then the winning teams will represent South Africa in the grand finale in Geneva in 2026. And then as well, a third area of action that I was mentioning in the introduction, and is one of the core areas of the ITU team, is standards development. And ITU leads the development of international AI standards that promote safety, transparency, and interoperability. And by participating in this work, African countries and institutions can definitely ensure that local priorities are reflected in the technical frameworks being adopted worldwide. And finally, we have AI governance, and this is really about, from one side, participating in our AI Governance Day that we had the first one in 2024 at the AI for Global Summit. We had a second edition earlier in July this year. So to ensure, like, really that that youth and participants from the global south, all African countries, are fully engaged into these discussions. And these four pillars are not isolated efforts, but they work together to bridge the digital divide, promote this trustworthy AI development that we want to ensure, and empower youth with the skills to thrive. So I would say leveraging the opportunities that ITU is providing into these four areas of action is what we encourage African governments and African stakeholders to do moving forward. And I will be happy to provide you with more examples as we move forward in the conversation, how basically we are building these collaboration platforms in Africa already right now.
Great. I think, before we even go to my next question, I'll give you this opportunity to just maybe explain that because this is quite interesting. Can you just explain how you aim to unlock this throughout Africa?
Example is the new initiative with Google and Will.i.am Foundation to bring the AI and robotics training to schools across Africa.
Oh, nice.
So one of the main areas of concern around the world is how we ensure that everyone everywhere around the world is well equipped when it comes to this new AI revolution. AI is advancing very fast, and we need our citizens, like from a really young age, well equipped with the tools to learn AI and robotics. And for this, we launched as part of the UN General Assembly digital UNGA event, a new project together with Google and Will.i.am that is called the AI and Robotics Youth Training Program to, first of all, leverage internet connectivity via the GIGA initiative, as well as joint ITU UNICEF project, hands-on AI education for students aged 10 to 18 years old, teacher training and robotics kits, so like really train the teachers training, and exactly, and then so they can teach at the same time afterwards in their different schools, so we can like really reach many students around the continent, and with a strong focus on inclusion, particularly for girls and underserved communities. And here we are piloting in 5 countries right now. One of them is South Africa. Another one is Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. So these are the 5 pilot countries that we have in which Robotics for Good Youth Challenge, which is the UN leading global robotics educational competition that right now is currently active in over 60 countries, combined with AI Skills Coalition, which is the global multi-stakeholder effort to ensure that everyone can have access to develop their AI skills. Both combined, we have this AI and robotics youth training program targeting first these third African countries, but then with the aim to reach to all citizens around the world. So this just to give you an example on this.
This is wonderful stuff. And I want to know, so you're saying in South Africa, when do you aim to start this pilot? And because, there are schools within rural areas that are there, that, they've got this internet access problem. But also, I like the fact that you're also going to be training the trainers. This is something that I've been very passionate about. Yeah, tell me, in South Africa, when are you starting?
We had, and that was great. I mean, I was in South Africa last week. I mean, I came back on Monday this week, and we had the kickoff event, And that was a panel with teachers on Thursday evening that we had at Santon Convention Center, and brought together around 40 professors and teachers, educators from all around the country to like really have a conversation on what are their needs in terms of the curriculum development that we are gonna support them with established in all these pilot countries. So we had this first discussion because, as I was mentioning, the program is going to be divided in several aspects. So one of them is the Robotics for Video Challenge competitions. The first one, we had it last Friday in South Africa. The following ones are going to be in March 2026. A second aspect is the development of a localized curriculum on AI and robotics to allow the teachers to teach it either as part of class hours, and this would be, of course, in collaboration with the Department of Basic Education and others, or otherwise outside of a school hours, for example, through the AI clubs that will be part of this initiative. And the plan is to have 15 AI clubs in each of the pilot countries as a start. A fourth element is the development of the teachers, the teacher trainers trainings that will happen in February, March 2026, once these curriculums have been developed. And finally, we will have an attached robotic kits so the teachers can have the hardware and software available to conduct these trainings with their students. So those are the elements that come with the program. We had this first kickoff in South Africa last week with a teachers panel that was like very insightful, and with the pre-event surveys, the post-event surveys, all their interaction throughout the session is going to be very helpful as we design this curriculum. And then the Robotics for Good Challenge South Africa. And this, what we want to ensure is that African youth gain access to practical, hands-on digital education. So we move beyond theory and introduce real tools, platforms, problem-solving experiences through the Robotics for Good Challenge to ensure computational thinking and coding, digital literacy, applied AI skills. So all these elements, and of course, collaboration and creative project development, that is what I was so happy to see last week in South Africa, and all this energy and motivation that came from all of them.
I like that. That's actually something that is like going to do a lot of good. Now, some people say that regulation, can slow processes, and others say lack of standards harms trust. How is the ITU striking that balance? I like the fact that you work a lot with regulation as well, setting the standards. Now, AI evolves very fast, with policy. How do you aim to strike the balance between regulation and progress?
That's a very important question. And here, as I was mentioning, South Africa has both the technical talent and the institutional capacity to play a leading role in shaping the future of AI. And here, ITU, what we have been highly working on is to move from high-level AI governance principles to practical implementation. So we combine like really how to enable standards that support innovation around the world. And here we have the international standardization and governance processes led by the ITU. As I was mentioning at as the introduction, ITUT, which is the telecommunications standardization sector at the ITU, is currently at the forefront of developing technical standards for AI and related digital technologies. And for now, we have these 400 AI-related standards some published, some others under development, and they cover many areas in which governments have called international organizations for action. And one, of course, is trustworthy and explainable AI and multimedia authenticity, machine learning for 5G and 6G networks, and AI for health, environment, accessibility, and others. So all these areas that are highly impactful and that have really big potential to solve global challenges. For example, with AI and multimedia authenticity, how we are able to identify something that has been AI generated on social media or something that has been not, to, for example, through watermarking standards, to ensure that people are well aware of what's in front of them, if it's AI generated or not. This right now, it was has been one of the main concerns of our stakeholders, and all these discussions happen every year through our regional events, like the one we had last week in AI for Good Impact Africa. But not only this, as well, we have the AI for Good Global Summit in Geneva happening every year in July, where these discussions happen, and through this multi-stakeholder platform, then we build on these global initiatives, for example, the one on AI and multimedia content authenticity. So this is just to give you an example.
Wonderful. Now, another topic with this is digital sovereignty. As the world becomes interconnected, countries are racing to deploy foundational digital public infrastructure. What measures do you have to safeguard that low-income nations are not locked into foreign mass surveillance, vendor-dependent technologies?
That's an important question as well. So we have, in South Africa, we discussed and we are exploring the possibility to set centers of excellence. This is an idea that is currently under development. So we are working right now with some countries to launch outside Africa, and the next plans that we have in the pipeline will be to ensure that we have one of these centers of excellence in a country in Africa, but to ensure that all these elements like DPI, compute, cloud credits, all these different elements that are needed to ensure innovation, like models, data sets, standards are deployed on site and they are locally available. And
wow.
This, we have received a lot of interest from countries in Africa. So our plan would be by the next summit in 2026, we're able to make these ideas concrete and launch one of these centers of excellence in South Africa. But at the same time, the ITU has been working closely with African governments when it comes to policy development, DPI infrastructure, GovStack, and others to ensure that everyone is fully engaging and benefiting from this digital AI revolution.
Great stuff. Another thing that is very, very close to my heart specifically, South Africa has got a lot of rural areas, lots of rural areas. Mostly what we find is places, big cities like Johannesburg and Cape Town are always the first to receive advancements. But, Guillem, just to tell you, our rural areas in South Africa have got mineral wealth, and the amount of mineral wealth they've got, each and every province has got enough minerals, has got a mineral that is necessary to create electric vehicle batteries. And the thing is, our people in those schools are not aware of this, and this is one of the things that is very close to my heart. I want to find out, when robotics steps into mining and agriculture, who is going to rescale the workforce, and should the private sector be required to fund this transition? What plan do you guys have for that?
One of the key problems to start with is the lack of connectivity for all these different communities and schools, and this is the basis to have access to the digital economy. So, for example, here we have MIGA with IQ UNICEF initiative that connects schools to the internet all around the world, and is active in South Africa currently and in other 45 countries. So this is like to give you an example how we provide this support. Then you were mentioning like a blueprint for collaboration to move from AI to embodied AI and robotics, autonomous robotic solutions for different applications from when it comes to agriculture and food security. We launched the Robotics for Good You Challenge on food security and sustainable agriculture for this exact purpose, to try to move from just ideas and concepts to real world implementation. And here we have, it's true that Robotics for You Challenge is an abstraction from reality in which children aged 10 and 18 develop these robotic solutions, and many times they embed AI as a core component of the solutions that they are developing. And through the AI and robotics trainings that we will be providing, this is going to be supporting them in developing these creative solutions that they are coming up with. But then the aspects of how we deploy, let's say, agriculture robotics, robots for energy purposes, and so on, this is very well defined, and we have many examples on embodied AI through ITUT standardization work. And one that I would like to bring up to your attention when it comes to, for example, deploying robots in urban environments and ensuring that these robots are interpretable and they can basically like communicate with each other. We have what it's called an ITUT recommendation on this, in which we define all the requirements for this to happen, and we have as well standards on digital twin and smart aquaculture. We have as well intelligence maintenance robots, robotics as a service. So, for example, security requirements. There is a new work item on study group 17 on security requirements and guidelines for embodied AI systems. So you can see how many of these use cases are being reflected in ITUT standardization work. And in the end, we bring all this technical community together to build these consensus-based standards that then are, well, many times implemented by many countries around the world. And there is as well a specific global initiative on agriculture that is led by ITU and FAO. So this, again, another example in which we bring all these global collaborations on board, and what we want is to have African countries more involved into these global initiatives at the ITU.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful stuff. Now, another important one I want to find out from you is artificial intelligence in languages. And, you know, in the internet, over 2,000 African languages risk digital extinction. What practical steps is the ITU going to take to prevent cultural erasure, you know, in the age of machine intelligence, and how important are languages?
This has been very important and at the core of the work that we are doing. One example is a new track that we will launch at the global summit next year on AI for cultural heritage and cultural and preservation of cultural heritage. And I want to mention that we are very happy to announce that at the AI for Global Summit, at the AI for Good Impact Africa, we launched a specific new program on your voice, your device, your language, and this is a new machine learning 5G challenge that invites innovators to build with Swahili automatic speech recognition model that works offline under real-world conditions to give voice to over 100 million people. And participants are challenged to design lightweight, efficient ASR solutions optimized for edge devices, empowering inclusion through local languages. So this is to give you the latest of the latest that was announced last week, showing you how ITU is at the forefront of, well, some of the key topics that people want solutions for and want international organizations to be tackled.
That's great stuff, because language is going to be very, very important with regards to that, and just to make sure that cultures are preserved. And also, we find that the difference between kids that grow up learning in their mother tongue and those that grow up not learning in their mother tongue, the gap is so vast, it's big, and the difference, the pace at which they learn and they understand things is extremely different. And Africa cannot afford to make the same mistake. And especially when it comes to something like AI, it's going to be very important that languages are involved, and then to create models that incorporate the African languages in that. Now, from AI standards, we know as well that they can tilt global power. How does ITU prevent that type of dominance, by just a few tech superpowers shaping the rules for the rest of the continent?
That's very important. And as I was mentioning, the fact that the ITU has, if the specificities of the language and culture are not included in AI models, this of course impairs diversity, impairs how the people are able to express themselves. So it's very important. That's why we launched this kind of challenge. And secondly, for the aspect that you were mentioning on how to ensure that the standard setting process that is happening at the ITU is inclusive. ITU is a membership-based organization, consensus-driven organization. So any standard that is being approved, that is being developed, needs consensus from all the stakeholders that are represented in that particular, for example, study group in ITU, in the standardization bureau of the ITU. So, for example, here we have 3 types of membership at the ITU. We have the 194 member states and over 1,000 academia and industry members. So it's a really diverse membership. The only UN agency with this tripartite membership model, and all of them, and especially developing countries and least developed countries, they can participate at like organizations, let's say academia members, or I was here last week in Johannesburg discussing with University of Cape Town, Wits University, so many of them, for example, to join these processes, and academia members, as well as, of course, DCDT here in South Africa and other entities are heavily involved into the processes that are happening at the ITU as in the standard setting process to ensure that they are on the table and well represented. And for this, we at the ITU has as well the Bridging the Standardization Gap BSG program that is specifically meant to support exchange knowledge and support capacity building in standards development for developing countries that would maybe sometimes not have the capacity to participate and learn on this standard setting process, to ensure that what we are saying is not only words, but it's really implemented in the real world. Thank you very much for your questions.
And that surely brings us to the end of what a truly inspiring conversation with Mr. Guillem Martinez from the ITU. We've explored some pioneering efforts from the global summits to grassroots school initiatives, and we heard firsthand how African voices and languages and talent are going to be shaping the digital era. From robotics in mining and agriculture to AI-driven classrooms powered by local innovation, The ITU is lighting pathways for our youth and safeguarding our continent's place in a much more connected world. Now, to everyone listening, from Marikana to Maputo, Lagos to London, remember, Africa's digital future is in our hands and is brighter than ever. Thank you for joining North Coast Radio 104.0 MHZ. I'm Lwazi Manqele. Till next time, keep dreaming, keep building, and stay tuned for more stories that move Africa forward. Asbonge.